This has nothing to do with race. Excellence has no color. What's right has no color. Fairness has no color.
The Dallas Black Police Officers Association is the latest to call for Chief David Brown to quit or be fired. Many officers are against the chief's plan to deal with a surge in violent crime. At least 600 officers will have their shifts changed to work evenings. Some will be moved to a new task force. Chief David Brown joins us this morning. Good morning, Chief. Good to see you here. So these four police associations all got together. They met last night. They're basically speaking out against your plan to try to fight crime. They've called for you to, at least two of them have called for you to step down, including for the very first time the Black Police Officers Association. They're expected to release a joint press release today. Does all of this, do all the associations coming forward make you question the plan that you're trying to put in place? And if all of them ask for you to resign, would you step down?
Well, this is what I signed up for. My mother said there'd be days like this. And the most important thing, though, is that our job is to protect the citizens of Dallas, and that should be our priority. Union politics often is a lot of loud talking, a lot of in front of the camera, and oftentimes you can sit down later once they get less emotional about what they're calling for and talk through some of their issues and make a lot of compromise. And I've been willing and continue to be willing to be flexible with them on schedule changes, but our analysis showed that the majority of the violent crime, the murders particularly, are happening during the evening hours, and we don't have enough officers in these neighborhoods to protect citizens.
Is it hard to put a plan in place, though, if your troops aren't following you?
Well, that's one thing that you have to earn that. So it's not an automatic that troops going to follow you when you present a plan. So you got to work the room, and that's what I've been doing all week, is starting with the lowest common denominator, the rank and file, and talking through their concerns and making compromises and exemptions for people who are, single parents. Things like that are exceptional. We can draw down some of those folks and still have a big enough group to go out and protect citizens.
Did you get the input from them first before you came out with this plan?
Some of the input regarding one of the plans we did on the Community Policing 2.0, which is a rotation. So 2 weeks at a time they go out and rotate, help answer calls.
Right.
But in 2 weeks, the last 10 days, we've had 4 double murders. And so for me, I have a sense of urgency when people are being killed. And often you have to take the leadership role and direct people and then work through the process of input to make adjustments afterwards. But instead of sitting and waiting and negotiating for weeks and months while people are being killed, often it's not a luxury I have when we have spikes like this.
Let's talk about the crime numbers. There's an 86% spike in the murder rate, which is one of the things. My question, though, is why did the numbers have to become so alarming for something to be done? You mentioned these recent murders. Yeah. Well, and this is 86%. This isn't just all of a sudden. So why all of a sudden are you trying to do something?
So it's not all of a sudden. If you recall, back in February, we began putting together a violent crime task force because the first 6 weeks of the year, we saw a lot of red flags that led us to believe that this was a different type of uptick. And then in March, early March, again, I mentioned in the first 2 weeks of March, we saw a lot of drug-related double murders, a lot of domestic violence murders, not of intimate partners, but of family members killing other family members.
That's a crime of passion, though. I mean, can you, more officers on the street, is that really going to stop something like that?
We have 800 domestic violence warrants we need to serve. Putting people who abuse their family members in jail will stop something like that, and you have to do it more expeditiously. In addition, drug house murders eventually will have an innocent person caught in the crossfire. So executing drug warrants will prevent something like that. So there are things we can do. We are not helpless, and the public expects us to do everything we can to help protect them.
Yeah, we talked about some of the other crimes, the rate being up. Recruiting new officers, you've mentioned, I know in the past, has really been a problem. And you mentioned that starting pay for a Dallas police officer, and I was shocked to learn this, really is among the lowest in the DFW area. Will that change? Would a pay increase affect morale? Would it lessen the pushback that you're receiving from these officers? Have you brought that up to the mayor? Has he said anything about it? I know he's a big fan of yours.
Sure. All of the above is true. I brought it up to the mayor. The mayor is on board with doing whatever he can to increase starting pay for the young officers. In addition, hiring more officers is also something that I've been discussing all of last year and almost every opportunity I get this year. But we can't use that as an excuse. public expects us to do our job with the tools we have. The council and the mayor and the city manager has been very generous to our police department. We're not one of the lowest staffed police departments in the country, so we just have to adjust our hours. It's the only thing I'm asking is that during the times when these violent crimes are happening, can we get officers to adjust their hours some in order to address it before the summer comes?
All right, not an easy job. Thank you
Not at
so
all.
much for joining us.
Thank
We
you,
really
Lori.
appreciate it. We're going to put a link to the latest crime stats, by the way, that were released on our website on fox4news.com.